There's a lot of randomness in Minecraft, so to be able to speedrun the game quickly, you need to be incredibly lucky with the seeds that you get, the drops, and many other things. Which makes me question if it would still even be possible to beat the game if you just continued getting bad RNG and never got lucky. So I made the worst luck possible mod and tried to beat the game with it. But first, let's make things clear. Everything that is seed dependent stays seed dependent. We only want to replace every random number generator in the game's code with the worst possible result for that random number generator. Basically, I'm gonna try my best to make it so that everything that happens in this mod is technically possible to achieve without the mod. Also, we are gonna be playing on 1.16.1, because after 1.20, loot tables are seed dependent, which really doesn't fit the theme of worst luck possible. Next. Considering something lucky can be subjective. If you think that, for example, the mod would be harder if I replaced every hostile mob spawn with a creeper, then I don't know, you can make your own mod. I read your suggestions, some of them were just too difficult to code and some of them just had no impact on the game. And lastly, when beating the game I have to follow the rules of speedrun.com, so obviously no fly hacking or duping items. And with these rules we can begin. So how do I plan to get blaze rods? Every mob always drops the smallest possible amount of loot, which for blazes is 0, even with looting free. And there's no other way of obtaining Eyes of Ender in the game. But believe me, not being able to obtain blaze rods is the smallest of our concerns right now. Let's just create a new world on a random seed. And looks like we spawn in a lava lake, underground, with no way to get out. Because in my mod, everything random is always the worst possible. Therefore, random seed is the worst possible seed. And you're gonna roll this seed every single time. This seed has only been beaten on some obscure snapshot, which had some weird crawl exploit, but I am not on a snapshot, so I don't know. The only way to get out would be to wait for like Enderman to dig you out, but that would require a lot of luck, and yeah, we are on the worst luck possible. I can confidently say that on a random seed, you cannot beat Minecraft with the worst luck possible. But we are allowed to set the seed to whatever we want. It's just a different category. Set seed glitchless. So the real question is, can I beat it in SSG? I'm gonna need the right seed and the right strategy, and then it should be possible, right? Because I can pick a seed with a pre-filled end portal, I'm not gonna need any blaze rods or perils. The hardest part will be killing the ender dragon, because every time the dragon reaches its destination, it picks a new one, and it only has a 1 in 13 chance of perching. So in my mod, the dragon never perches. Bowing the dragon is also not really an option, because projectiles have a random spread, and the direction where your projectile fires is actually calculated using the random Gaussian function, which doesn't actually narrow down the area of where your projectiles go, it just makes it a lot more likely for them to be accurate. But it is very technically possible for your arrow to go in literally any direction. So with the worst luck possible, your arrow never goes where you want it. And to implement it, I simply decided to make the bow shoot in a uniformly distributed random direction. So bowing the dragon is not even an option. Your bow will break before you even hit a single arrow. Thankfully, speedrunners have come up with so many different ways to kill the ender dragon. What about the zero cycle? It's actually not that difficult. You just have to know the coordinates of the node that the dragon strafes around. As long as it isn't luck-based, it could work. But it is kind of luck-based. You see, depending on the Y level from where you try to kill the dragon, there's a different chance that the dragon just flies away and the zero cycle fails. The lower you stand, the higher the chance of the dragon flying away. With the worst luck possible, the dragon always flies. Unless you go to the highest possible Y level, 104. Then the zero cycle is guaranteed to work. And with some precise ender pearl throws, I can barely make it in time to Y104. But without ender pearls, there's just no way. Technically it is possible to obtain ender pearls. There's one method which doesn't require any luck. We're already playing on a set seed. We can scout the seed before playing. We can write down the coordinates of where the chests with ender pearls are. And then we can realize that ender pearls are completely useless because they are also projectiles, so they use the same exact code as the bow. And unfortunately, with that in mind, the zero cycle is not an option. I don't see any practical way of getting up there in time. So what other options do we have here? One shot? No, requires a perch. 0 one-shot? No, requires ender pearls. You should bridge out to the outer end islands, get an elytra and melee the dragon. But wait, there's one more. Ground 0. You don't need ender pearls because it's on the ground, and you don't need a perch because it's a 0. It kind of looks like a perch, but it's not, because the dragon doesn't have the purple projectiles. Ground 0 uses a similar mechanic to the 0 cycle. You see, in a 0 cycle, the dragon is constantly trying to reach a certain node, but that node is a lot lower than the dragon, and the dragon loses altitude very slowly, so in the meantime it's just circling around that node. In a ground 0, you are the node, because when you break any of the crystals, the dragon gets mad at you and it wants to throw a fireball at you, but in order for it to throw a fireball at you, it needs a line of sight with you, and to get that line of sight, you become the node until you get hit by a fireball. But you are never going to get fireballed if there's no line of sight between you and the dragon. So you surround yourself with iron bars, and from the dragon's perspective, these can be full blocks. It cannot see you. So as a result, it continues trying to reach you and gives you many opportunities to blow it up with beds. So for this challenge, it's perfect. Doesn't require any luck. In a ground 0, the dragon's behavior is deterministic. So what do we need? How do we ground 0? I've seen Koryue do this, trust me, I know how this works. I don't think I did it right. Well, unfortunately there's exactly one good tutorial on how to ground 0, and it's outdated, but what I discovered from my own testing is that the ground 0 setup works literally no matter where you build it. After all, you are the node, so wherever you're standing, the dragon's going to fly. Even if you're standing on the starting obsidian platform. Speedrunners build the setup in the fountain because it's pretty fast, but I don't care about speed, I just want a setup that will work with the worst luck possible. Another feature of the mod was to make the dragon always fly as high as possible to make it the hardest to hit, and with that in mind, the best place to build the setup is at Y76 above the fountain, from my testing. And it's now confirmed that the ground 0 will work and kill the ender dragon regardless of how lucky you are. So, with my plan on how to kill the ender dragon ready and a checklist of items that I will need, we can now start thinking on how to go through the overworld, which actually turned out to be a lot harder, partially because of the mobs, but mainly because of the thunder. During a thunderstorm, there is a 1 in 100,000 chance of a lightning strike hitting for every chunk. So, with the worst luck possible, and I'm not even gonna calculate the odds of that happening, but we're gonna have to deal with a lightning strike on every single chunk that is loaded, every tick, that is 1/20th of a second. You can't just tank the thunderstorm with the worst luck possible, that's just not an option. Also, lightning strikes destroy items on the ground, so you lose everything when you die. Thankfully, there is a cooldown in between thunderstorms. That cooldown is between 10 minutes to 150 minutes, based on how lucky you are. So the cooldown is 10 minutes. We get 10 minutes to do progress, and then we have to survive a thunderstorm. Somebody suggested I should make copper rods to catch the lightning, but unfortunately this is 1.16. But you can just sleep through a thunderstorm, even if it's not nighttime. Not on the surface, because of the mobs and the lightning strikes, but underground you can sleep fine. So that's the plan. Keep track of the time. 10 minutes means the sun has to get from one side to the other. If you see that the sun is approaching sunset, dig yourself down, block off the hole, place a bed, and continue clicking until it lets you sleep through the thunderstorm, and then you just have to deal with the aftermath, which is everything's burning and there are skeleton horse traps everywhere. So to minimize that damage, you can set your render distance to 2 during a thunderstorm. The skeleton horse traps are also annoying because when you get near them, they spawn the horsemen of the apocalypse, and also with the worst luck possible, they will randomly decide to wander towards you, but they are slow, so just outrun them. Overall, it's pretty easy to handle. The issue is that you have to deal with all of this every 10 minutes. It slowed down the progress a lot, because remember I have to gather a lot of beds, some blocks and 3 pieces of obsidian for the ground 0. Now let's go over some mob changes. Every zombie is a baby zombie. Every spider is a spider jockey. Around the player there is an area in which the mobs can spawn. So with the worst luck possible, that area is as close to the player as possible. All mobs wander towards you. Passive mobs don't spawn naturally. you are left with only the mobs that are seed dependent, which, fun fact, there are some seed dependent mob spawns. Endermen will only teleport in the direction where you're looking, which was really fun to implement. Piglin trades always give you 2 magma cream. Ghasts are a lot more common, but honestly we're not gonna go to the nether because flint doesn't drop unless you have a fortune-free shovel. Drowned always have a trident, so that was super annoying because in water you're a lot less maneuverable than on the surface, and drowned are also more common. So if you want to play for a shipwreck, you're gonna have to dodge a million tridents. So now how do I deal with all of that? Because with the worst luck possible, it could even be a little worse. The mobs could even pathfind towards that pre-filled end portal and camp the obsidian platform for the player. Like, on the surface it's gonna be fine. We're gonna sleep all the time. Mobs cannot spawn in the sunlight. The only time we're gonna go underground is to the stronghold. But thanks to our amazing seed finding community, we have a couple different pre-filled end portal seeds to choose from, and the first one I checked had a stronghold under the Mushroom Islands biome. In the Mushroom Islands, hostile mobs cannot spawn. The stronghold is gonna be safe, both from the mobs and the lightning. Also, the spawn of this seed is next to a village with 7 beds. I think we just found our seed. So now what's left to verify that it's possible is to actually beat it. I'm not gonna go over the whole run, but you can find it on the live stream. And after the whole 3 attempts, I have beat it. Here's how. Blood thinks he can beat this, Lamao. I start by getting some food from the village. One thing I forgot to mention about the mod is when you break blocks, the items go in a random direction. So with the worst luck possible, they just always go away from the player. That was a good viewer suggestion that made me lose my boat a couple times. Are there in this village? No. Okay, let's just rip my boat. I can't get it. I've written down coordinates of 4 different villages, which give me a total of 25 beds. Every 10 minutes, I would dig straight down and place down a bed and go to sleep. And, shit. Okay, that's just unlucky. Wow. Now, I don't necessarily think digging straight down was a mistake here. I blame myself because I had 3 clutch items in my inventory, and water that I missed by like 0.1 block. I'm just a brick. Thankfully I left that bed from the previous thunder, so my respawn point wasn't that far and I could just go back. I get there in exactly 5 minutes, and half of the stuff that was down there despawns, which is just unlucky. So I lost my pumpkin that was supposed to protect me from the enderman in the end. And while I'm down there, I grab some iron and smelt it to get the buckets, because I need 3 obsidian. I figured just getting 3 buckets of lava and 1 bucket of water would be easier. Sleep through another thunderstorm and head to the stronghold, where I set up a little chest because I am fully expecting to die in the end. And you might notice the endermen are a little freaky, and before the ground zero I decide to break all of the crystals. Then this happened. Is right on me. Go away. God. Well, that's just unlucky. Did I look at an enderman? I did. Oh. That's one of them. The pumpkin would have been better here. Okay, I can just like build up two blocks up, and the enderman should leave me alone. Dude, it's not gonna leave me alone. I think I got him. This is a nightmare. I want my boat back. Yeah, but the thing about Ender Dragon fireballs is they're not really random, they're mostly just deterministic. The dragon just needs a specific angle on you and, well, I can't go away, go away! I can't place a boat, there's so many endermen. Okay, it's fine. Oh, yeah, there's thunderstorm. That's why I have like 0 FPS right now. Is all of my stuff here? I had the spawn point, so dying only just slowed me down a little. I finish off the last crystals and start building the ground zero setup, which... Oh my... Are you kidding me? Get away from me. What? I just can't place... Wait, I can just place water. Water gets rid of enderman. Unfortunately, I built the setup lower than I was supposed to, which I didn't think would matter, and the beds ended up doing only a little bit of damage. Yeah, the dragon was flying a lot higher, probably because I made the dragon fly a lot higher. And this is just not enough damage. I end up having to go back to the overworld, find more villages, get another 20 beds, go back into the end, and finish off the dragon. Come on. Yes. Yes, it's finally gone. We have defeated the Ender Dragon. Guys, it is possible to beat Minecraft with the worst luck possible, at least on easy mode. This was unlucky. There's also hard, which actually makes the game a lot harder. On easy, mobs do not spawn with armor, but in hard mode, they're gonna spawn with enchanted diamond armor, iron swords, spiders will have invisibility, everything obviously does more damage, and, interestingly, zombies have a hidden property, summon reinforcements, which spawns more zombies whenever you hit them. It's hard to notice because the summoned zombies are the same as the regular zombies, and the chances of a zombie summoning reinforcements are very small. But in the worst luck possible, I made it so they always summon reinforcements. So if you need to kill a zombie, that's gonna spawn another 10 zombies. And it works the same with Drowned. I believe there are copper farms that use this mechanic. So maybe I'll try to beat this in hardcore mode next livestream. But for now, I'm leaving the mod download in the description of this video. You can do whatever you want with it. This video was inspired by The Bones, and I'm gonna face reveal at this amount of subscribers, so you should subscribe. Bye!